Tulane University basketball player who recently declared for the NBA draft
has been charged in the murder in Henry County. TESHAUN Hightower was arrested and charged in a murder that happened back on April 8th in Stockbridge.
He was one of 6 people wanted in connection with an April 8th homicide and is scheduled to appear in court.
He's now charged with felony murder along with several other crimes.
TESHAUN Hightower, born November 21st, 1997. On the journey to the NBA as a basketball player, there's so much that has to fall in place in order to see that through. I always say the game of basketball is beautiful in that way because, like nature, it's self-sufficient in how it perfectly filters and balances itself with the amount of players that play the game and the limited amount of jobs it provides each year. You have to have a certain talent, then you have to perform and become the best player on some level, hopefully early on. You have to either have built such an enticing name for yourself entering college or while there that your draft stock becomes well talked about. You have to stay healthy and you have to exude a certain focus along the way, and lacking in such is probably the biggest reason many growths have been stunted. Today's feature falls in that category. A standout in high school that made a name for himself in college as an interesting two-way player with prototypical wing abilities and potential. He led his Division I program in scoring and was on his way to the NBA draft. 10 days later, April 25th, 2020, he was arrested for the murder of Devontae Long. His lawyer began snitching on his brother, who was also present to take the fall, in hopes TESHAUN kept his chance to pursue a dream that could help his entire family. But that dream was pretty much all but over from he decided to make himself present for a murder. It takes a certain focus to understand you're the face of a program and in position to capitalize on an NBA opportunity, not to put yourself in a position where you're not only allegedly there, but according to a witness, was actually the trigger man. You can't make this up. School colors on the pistol on some rapper-ish, my guy? Anyway, here's an important story and lesson of what not to do as a player trying to do something extraordinary. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. TESHAUN Hightower was born in Lithonia, Georgia, and spent the beginning stages of his high school basketball career as a standout in Gwinnett County. He was all-region as a senior and first-team all-county before enrolling at Mount Zion Prep in Baltimore, Maryland. There, he was the team's most valuable player, finishing with averages of 19.6 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 7 assists. He committed to Georgia and began his freshman season in 2017. Stunt number 1, lack of guidance. First off, let's all understand that guidance should not be solely associated with some outside force there to show you the right way. The most important guidance comes within yourself. I bring this up a lot, but it's the difference between a player like a Troy Bell that knew exactly the role he needed to play in order to get to the NBA without his mother or father needed to show him, and a person like myself, highly talented but didn't recognize the basketball opportunity in a timely manner. You will wait forever to be saved by a sign giving you complete directions to the goal. At some point, the responsibility falls on you. Realizing that early enough will almost ensure you at least get the opportunity to succeed. TESHAUN had his brother, who was also arrested for the offense, and father, along with the Tulane program and university, to assist in his life success as well as basketball, but was missing the self-awareness to assure he followed the path. Before then, he was a Georgia freshman that found it difficult to get the opportunity to showcase his talent. He played 11 minutes a game and averaged 3 points. As a sophomore, in 17 minutes, he upped his average to 7 points and started more than half the games. Looking for more opportunity, he transferred to Tulane, and after petitioning the NCAA for immediate eligibility, it was granted and he suited up for the 2019-2020 season. He led the team in scoring and minutes played. By all accounts, he had a shot of making the NBA as a second round steal or even in the first round depending on his combine showing. Because of his actions April 2020, it seems he'll now have to focus on other life dreams should he be released, because if it's one thing the business of the NBA does not want is to be represented in the way Hightower displayed. You're at least supposed to play in the NBA first before going to jail for murder like my boy Javaris. The other way around almost seals that fate. Stunt number 2, what a murder charge means. That leads me to what this murder charge meant for Hightower as a basketball player. As far as I could find, he hasn't been sentenced yet, although he remains in jail until his trial. Should he be miraculously released, I think his chances of playing in the NBA are over for these reasons. We mentioned earlier that he was already a player on the cusp of being drafted or not, so needed everything to go his way leading up to the 2020 draft. The arrest closed that door, and his inability to get a bond may seal his freedom. And this is the growth stunt I want all young hoopers that see this video to understand. I don't care what today's rap music says makes you cool or subconsciously makes you feel is tough, you need to always be aware of what your worth is. I'm sure had Hightower had something there to remind him of the opportunity he had, he would have allowed his brother and friends to call him all the soft names in the world to take back that day. I'm sure he thinks about that every day now, a 6'5", 6'6" lockdown all-star. Whether they thought they'd just go there and scare the victim or went with the intentions of harming him, it was incredibly unaware to think either outcome would give you more than pats on the back and a cool stamp of approval. Stunt number 3, the murder. Now, let's talk about what landed TESHAUN in the situation he's in. According to Street Nigga News, TESHAUN's friend Tyreek Farmer was getting his ass beat in a house fight in a 600 building by Devontae Long, a 24-year-old quote-unquote real nigga from the block. Devontae was allegedly seen on top of Farmer, adjusting his facial structure with his pistol while whispering profane language to Mr. Farmer. Things like, "Nigga, you thought this was a game? I'm the man around these parts." And a fighter's favorite words when enraged and engaged in a passionate deliverance of ass whooping. "Bitch ass nigga, you don't know me." Somehow, Tyreek managed to scrape himself off the floor and ran away from Mr. Long, who slipped back into his slides and made sure his wife beater was still intact, enough to keep on for the rest of the day. Farmer, embarrassed and leaking, went back to recruit his 5 friends as the only way to defeat Thanos, aka Devontae Long. The group showed back up to Long's residence and met him in the hallway of the apartments when Long's girlfriend tried to intervene. Allegedly, TESHAUN Hightower shoves her out the way before presenting his freshly painted 2-lane colored handgun in thoughts Long would become overwhelmed with regret and tearfully apologized to his battered friend, Tyreek Farmer, holding his jaw and unable to speak. But Long wasn't moved. He continued his savage banter, and from there it's unclear what took place, as the only witness stumbled and hid behind a wall in the apartment before hearing the fatal shot. The group hopped on their university-issued scooters and sped away in perfect line formation. Word would later come down that Long died from the gunshot injury at the hospital. Soon after, TESHAUN took to Twitter in attempts to run from the situation, leaving his favorite Bible verse and a letter thanking Tulane and their fans for his time there as he was entering the NBA draft. The witness and girlfriend of Long ID'd TESHAUN Hightower as the first person with the gun, although his lawyers put all the blame on his brother Jeffrey. He was arrested 10 days after his draft announcement and denied bond. Of course, these are all reachful imaginations of what I think happened and all alleged, but based on a true story. All in all, this is a sad story of literal wasted talent and work to get to the point of even being on the radar of the NBA. Wasted time for everyone who's invested in this player, and most importantly, wasted opportunity for TESHAUN to change the course of his family's life for generations. I never understood what makes rappers or ball players wait till they get the opportunity they ask for to all of a sudden desire to be a tough guy and gangster. Was TESHAUN a tough guy and a gangster? Well, none of us can say for certain, but the fact he was there for the reasons he was and seen with the murder weapon, who knows? High-level talent, horrible decision making, and for these reasons, his growth was stunted. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth, and I'm out. Make sure you follow me on twitch.tv/stuntedgrowthgaming if you want extra free content like me breaking down the day's highlights, moves, drafts, and past players or games upon your requests. Let's chat and talk live, as it's easier to answer your questions than a place like Instagram where your messages tend to get lost. Follow me there, it's free and we can connect instantly. Join the Discord as well to chat in-game. I'll leave links to everything below.